It's marketed as harmless, interest-free, just one click at checkout. But for some people, buy now, pay later isn't helping. It's quietly warping their relationship with money. In the last few months, I've seen an increasing number of headlines regarding the rise of buy now, pay later. And after taking a deep dive into it, I have serious concerns. Today, I want to unpack why something as seemingly simple as delaying payment can be a serious financial trap, even when there's no interest, no fees, no red flags at first. First of all, what is buy now, pay later? BNPL, or buy now, pay later, allows you to delay or split payments over the course of several weeks or months. Big companies that you'll recognize include Klarna, ClearPay, and Afterpay allow you to use it to purchase a myriad of things, from groceries to fashion and from makeup to gadgets. No interest, no hard credit checks, and no delay in getting your purchases. Just a delay in having to pay for it. And so with this, you leave the question of, can I actually afford this, for tomorrow's you to deal with. Who cares about whether it's affordable when that new handbag goes perfectly with the soy milk Labubu? And guys, if you're wondering right now what the heck is a Labubu, check out my Labubu video, that should explain everything. And if you have no interest, I'll be frank with you, you're better off not knowing. 1 in 5 UK adults use BNPL in the last year. That's over 10 million people. The top reasons for doing so were to budget, or to buy things they couldn't afford to pay for up front. And the thing is, guys, this is not a brand new idea. Think of it like a digital version of the layaway, except with layaway, you didn't get the item until it was paid off in full. BNPL flips that. You get it now, you pay later. And that flips your financial risk too. Let me just give you an example of how it actually works. Let's say I want to buy a new foundation and I find one on the Look Fantastic website that costs £41. At the checkout, I could pay in full using my debit card or Apple Pay, or I could use ClearPay or Klarna in order to delay paying the full cost. ClearPay would allow me to pay for this in 4 installments of £10.25 each every 2 weeks, while Klarna would allow me to delay paying for it at all for 30 days, or to split it into 3 equal installments. And I would have to pay that back over the course of 2 months. Once I pay it off, that's it. There's no fee, there's no interest. And I didn't pay any more than what the item is worth. And in theory from this, my credit score should be completely unaffected. It's the same price as long as I stick to that repayment schedule. If it sounds too good to be true, that's because it is. Because this whole system allows you to bypass the moment where you ask yourself, can I afford this? BNPL makes that moment completely optional. But actually, guys, it's worse than that. It encourages you not only to make a purchase that you're on the fence about, but also to spend more than you were going to. Now look, I get it. It sounds like a great option if you're juggling bills and waiting for payday. Times are tough right now, we all know that. And you can see why it's become so popular with retailers, because it lowers the barriers between that dopamine hit you get when you're shopping and you actually thinking about whether you should go ahead with this, whether you can actually afford to buy this thing. Who cares? You can have it anyway. And because the checkout process is so frictionless, you can act before you really think. And look, I get it. I'm not here to judge. In some cases, BNPL can be handy. For example, while BNPL firms will do a soft credit check, it's not as stringent as what a credit card company would do. You will have a borrowing limit, but you can use BNPL without jumping through as many hoops as you do with getting a credit card. It's also really popular with clothes shoppers because you can buy an item in multiple sizes and then just keep the one that actually fits, return all the ones that don't fit, and you haven't actually had to pay any money for those. You're only paying for the items that you actually keep because you've delayed the payment on those items. But despite those potential positives, I have serious concerns. And my number one concern is it encourages you to spend. Small amounts feel manageable. Installments feel harmless. Suddenly, that £41 foundation feels like it only cost you £10. You relax, you buy. And this is my big issue. It's normalizing borrowing for small things that are not essentials. And there's a psychological trick going on here. If you're paying just a small amount up front, it almost feels like a bargain. Those small amounts feel more manageable and less scary than the big ultimate cost. Split it up and you feel more comfortable with that final total. You kind of forget about it. It becomes abstract. And that relaxation can lead you to make purchasing decisions that you otherwise definitely would not have made. Maybe you say yes to spending more on a foundation than you typically would because you've been able to split the payments up into smaller amounts that are closer to what you may have normally paid. And the thing is, BNPL firms absolutely know this. And in fact, they market it as a selling point to the retailers that they partner with. In Klarna's own promotional material to potential commercial partners, they say that customers spend an average of 23% more. They also say that where Klarna is on offer, it results in a 20% higher conversion rate, meaning if Klarna is available, they're at checkout, people are more likely to go ahead with the purchase and not abandon their shopping cart. Plus, and this number really got to me, Klarna shoppers have a 46% higher purchase frequency rate than average shoppers. People who use Klarna buy more stuff. The BNPL firms do make some money from late fees, but primarily their money is coming from that business relationship with the retailers. They are paying them to provide the BNPL offering at checkout. So the business model is all about not just getting you to spend more frequently, but also to spend more when you do. And the things people are buying are not necessarily essentials. Data from Numerator suggests most BNPL purchases were for fashion, while the next most popular products were gadgets, home decor, and furniture. So BNPL can encourage you not just to make a purchase, but to make a bigger one. Let's say you're in the market for a new phone. You wanted the latest iPhone, which retails in at around £800, but then you see that there's an option to split the cost up into 0 interest installments. And that means you're happy to pay the extra £200 to get the Pro, because when you divide that £1,000 end bill up into installments, it doesn't look anywhere near as intimidating. It removes the friction caused by the pain of the total cost. And that leads me on to the second reason why I find BNPL concerning, which is you may always be behind. By using BNPL regularly, you're creating a future where you always have less, because you're still paying off yesterday's shopping. Paying off yesterday's phone or even takeaway with today's money traps you in a cycle. The more you rely on it, the less money you ever actually have. And eventually, maybe you can't make the repayments. It's a snowball effect. In recent years in the UK, Klarna has partnered with delivery companies such as Deliveroo. So that means you can get your takeaway pizza and not pay for it today. And over in the US this year, Klarna announced a partnership with DoorDash, which is kind of their equivalent of Deliveroo. Let's say that you spent your food budget already this month, but you really feel like a takeaway, even though you have some food in the fridge. You can get that takeaway and just delay the payment until next month. Where's the harm? And then next month you find yourself in that position again, craving a takeaway even though you've got food in the fridge. And then it spirals to 2 takeouts, but it's more convenient than cooking. Plus you can worry about paying it off next month. The thing is, if you are constantly borrowing from your future self, eventually those costs catch up with you. Over time you create a cycle where your money is already spoken for. You're always catching up and eventually you may miss a payment, and that's where those late fees kick in. My next concern is the shift in what's actually being financed. 1 in 4 BNPL users say they have used it in order to pay for groceries. They're essential food. So debt is no longer tied to big purchases like your house or your car. It's being used to delay the pain of day-to-day spending. This obviously is a product of the cost of living crisis that we all find ourselves in. The cost of things like essential food has soared, wages are not keeping pace, and the cost of every other household bill is rising as well. BNPL provides that option of helping you out this month so that you're not having to rely on credit cards or loans or overdrafts. And look, I get it, relying on this may feel necessary now, but it can backfire later on, which leads me to the final reason, which is that you can end up spiraling without a trace. BNPL firms run soft credit checks, so if you owe a ton of money to Klarna, ClearPay isn't going to know about it. This means you can get into trouble across multiple platforms, and no one sees the full picture until it's too late. In fact, apparently 60% of BNPL users have multiple loans simultaneously. And while BNPL firms do not charge fees or interest as long as you stick to the repayment schedule, there are late fees if you don't. Klarna's late fee is £5 on orders of £20 or more, and late fees are capped at £10 per order. And Klarna's own data actually shows us that only 5% of its users made late payments. However, in the US, one survey found that 41% of BNPL users had fallen behind on repayments. And in the UK, the Money Wellness Debt Advice Company has seen a 68% increase in clients looking for help with BNPL debt. The average balance of those seeking help has risen from £675 to £941. So some people face paying 25% or even 50% more than the cost of the original thing that they actually purchased. While the affordability checks that BNPL carry out on you will not affect your credit score can be affected if you fall behind on repayments and they refer you to a debt collection agency. The average BNPL transaction is quite low, around £180 or less. So you can see see how someone could quite easily be lured into allowing those to stack up. That ease and convenience at checkout lulls you into a false sense of security. You only need to pay £20 today and you have £20 today. The immediate cost barrier is gone. Whether you can afford the remaining £40 plus the £200 of other BNPL payments that you owe is a problem for tomorrow's you to deal with. I've never personally used BNPL, but researching this video made me realise why so many people do. Used strategically, it can genuinely help someone to manage paying off a large one-off expense, like buying a brand new phone. Splitting a £1,000 bill across 6 to 8 weeks could really help you balance your budget. Obviously, if your phone is broken, it's an emergency, you need a brand new one now, I get why there would be an urgency to it. If all you're doing is upgrading to the latest gadget, if I'm being honest, I don't see why you wouldn't just wait a few months and save up the money so that you can buy the thing all in one go and own it outright straight away. That way you don't owe anybody, especially when it's for something that you don't really need immediately or at all. But Klarna isn't trending because it's smart budgeting. It's trending because people are financing £40 foundations, £70 dresses and £30 takeaways. And when those payments hit all at once, the pressure mounts. You're stuck in a pattern. Buy now, regret later, repeat. Convenience has been monetized, impulse has been repackaged as empowerment, and the long-term risk has been made invisible. So look, BNPL isn't evil, but the way it's become a normal part of spending, for non-essentials, for food, for instant gratification, should give us all pause. So if you found yourself tempted by BNPL, what can we do instead? Before you click split into 3, ask yourself this: if I can't pay for this now, will I really be in a better position next month to do so? Or am I just creating a problem for myself and then pushing it down the road? Try the 48-hour rule, which has worked so well for me. You get the dopamine hit of having spent some time doing some online shopping and making those choices, because it's actually the shopping choices, picking out the color, picking out the size, clicking add to cart, that often is enough to induce that dopamine hit, reward your brain, and make you feel good. If you can then stop yourself from actually checking out, you've had the fun of shopping and making a decision, but you haven't actually had the pain of paying the money. Tell yourself you'll wait 2 days and see if you still really want this thing. 9 times out of 10, you really won't. Do not allow that frictionless checkout process to trick you. And of course, set aside some fun money that you're allowed to spend as part of a balanced budget. Take a granular look at how much money you have to spend every month on essentials and figure out what is an affordable, fun money budget for you. And then track your spending so that you can see if you're managing to keep on track or if impulse purchasing is knocking you off course. And this hopefully can help you make wiser spending decisions in the future. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts on Buy Now, Pay Later. Have you used it? Did you get into any trouble with it? Have you found it to be a useful tool? Please let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye.